will be your priorities as a creative communications advisor, and how do you intend to relay the messaging of the Marcos administration to the public more effectively?
No, great question. And that's the challenge that I'll be facing for the next 6 years now. Of course, first of all, it's such an honor for the president to consider me and to ask me to join this administration. It's an absolute honor, as I've said, to be able to serve. It's going to be a very new challenge for me. To be honest, I'm still learning. As we know, creative and government are very different worlds, but there are similarities. So I'm learning to embrace that. But yeah, I got appointed on October 17, which also was my birthday. So October 17 to this day, I've been really just building my team, learning my way around the bureaucracy of government. And I plan to aggressively start executing January next year onwards. I asked for some time to set up and to study so that I could, creatively communicate what's in the heart of the president. And he has told me many times it's really the creative industries, because that's where I'm from. I think he said it in a press con. How can we push this even more? It's already great, but how can we make it greater? And what maybe a lot of you don't know is that the president is, the industry, culture, arts is very close to him. A lot of our conversations are a lot about film, theater, music. That's what we talk about the most. And he really believes that the Filipino are the best people in the world and also the most talented in the world. But how can we show that? So that's going to be my challenge. And we do have some programs and some ideas in mind. And we hope by around early next year, you'll see some of our executions already. But I'm excited for the challenge because it's what I love to do. I'm from the creative industry myself, and I'm excited to be able to open up my office, extend my hand to all the creatives out there that we may disagree on a lot of things, but if we can agree on making the creative industry even greater, then let's do that together. I tell people, and let's be honest, it's been very polarizing, right? But I choose to see the creative in them rather than the other side. So, I want to reach out to my fellow creative people in the industries out there that let's work together. Yes, we can disagree on many things, but let's agree that we can make and we can show the world how creative we are. Let's just own that. So I guess that's kind of what my office will do. I've already met with several agencies and departments from the government. I've been meeting with the DOT, with the migrant workers, the ILG, just to see how we can, creatively communicate. And I think in this day and age, with all the content that's around, you need to be creative. You need to be a little different. You have to be a little unique. I want to be able to disrupt also a little bit, and just show, a different perspective, a different light of what the government is doing. And yeah, so hopefully I can make a little difference. With your support, we can all do this together. I think it's just to really come up with one clear messaging, to be, one of the mandates also that I'm doing is to at least kind of synergize the message, come up with some country branding. If my client was the Philippines, how could we best show this to our own Filipinos and of course to the world? So it's a huge challenge, but I'm honored to take it because it's something new and fresh. And again, when the president or the country calls, you just have to answer, whether you're ready or not. I'll just have to do my best, and hopefully I have your support.
Yung pagkakahiran sa iyo ni President Marcos ng 1 peso a year, tama ba? 1 peso a year ang sweldo, and of course for this movie, for the Metro Manila Film Festival. Siguro, Direk, ang tanong ko lang, why come up with this movie and then na ikaw mismo yung director? Kasi madalas kasi kumukuha ka na ng ibang director. Why this particular project na ikaw mismo yung director? You're also the producer at the same time.
Thank you for your question. Yeah, if I can make kwento ng konti about how my teacher started. This is really the concept of my wife, si Tony. As you all know, she also heads her own studio called Direk. So parang, you know, during the pandemic, di ba, nasa bahay lang tayo, so we were just being creative lang. And then she also told me na parang she hasn't really seen a film that portrayed our teachers. No? So she wanted to also make this an advocacy to our teachers, no? Who are very underrated. No? Sila talagang, you know, if ever one of our heroes growing up, no? They're the ones who give us our education. They're the ones who sacrifice so much to teach us. No? So she said, maybe we can shed some light and write a story about the teachers. No? And she wanted to play a teacher. I know some of her inspirations was yung movie The Intern, no? Blindside, yun ang mga parang pegs niya dito. No? So we talked about it and I told her, look, Tin, if you want and you feel passionate about this idea, why don't you start writing it? Actually, siya nagbuo ng concept. Siya nagsulat ng story. As you all know, Tony loves to write. No? So she wrote this, and then eventually we got a team involved, and we started writing it script, and of course the next question was, after we finalized the concept, no, we wanted to do something a little bit also unique. No? So we also started studying, and marami dyan, kung i-google nyo, maraming mga senior na pabalik sa high school. No? I believe din sa show niya, Tony Talks, at Tony, nag-feature siya ng mga hindi pa natapos ang high school. Because it's never too late naman, it's never too late, di ba? So she wanted to say parang, whatever you start, also make sure you finish. No? So parang we were reading all these inspirational stories about these senior citizens going back to high school. And that's where I kind of came in. I said, that's actually very nice, no? Because when you have, in this case, the character of Joy De Leon, going back to high school, you have now parang the old school meets the new school. So yan ang mga unique kwento dito sa My Teacher. An example would be, di ba? Yung mga old school, di ba? Mahilig sila magsulat, di ba? Mahilig sila magbasa, or they like to sing, di ba? Yung mga new school na yan, puro text, message, email, TikTok, di ba? So may konting yan. When you see the movie, you will also sana introduce to a new generation that, you know, the old school ways of doing things. No? So yeah, so we started writing it, and then of course, Tony's dream was to work with, of course, the icon Joey De Leon. No? And of course, that was our next challenge, no? Because of course, we have to approach him, diba? And of course, it's been a while since we've talked to him, but you know, what I can say about Joey De Leon is once we pitched to him the project, sabi niya, anything for you, Tony.
Wow.
Lakas ka sa akin. Sabi niya, exact words ni Joey De Leon. And of course, to hear that from a very respectable icon in our industry, we were very honored. So after a couple of months, we found the right timing, and Joey said yes. So of course, excited si Tony, no? And of course, na yun, yung director, di ba? Sino magde-direct ng movie? Initially naman, honestly, I wasn't the original director of the film. Because I was actually directing a movie which I shot last August called The Fisher. No? So parang I felt na kung magpa-back-to-back ako, baka hindi ko kaya. No? But when the initial directors that we were talking to, parang it didn't work out because of schedule and stuff. And then I looked at myself, who would want to work with Joey De Leon? Parang, yung icon niya, parang in my filmography as a young filmmaker, I can say that I worked with a Joey De Leon, who also we all know doesn't do too many movies now. I think his last movie was, sabi niya, a decade ago. And of course, I get to work with my wife. You know? It's been a while since I worked with my wife. My first film was with my wife in 2005, A Journey Home. So I said, this might be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And I haven't also directed in a while, diba? Kasi pandemic, diba? So I said, sige, you know, let me take the challenge to direct My Teacher. And that's kind of how it all started. And everything came together. We talked to Ronnie, to Loisa, who agreed to come on board. Parang planchado lahat, smooth lahat ng process. And then we got into MMFF. So parang we felt na this project is a big blessing because we always feel no, kung aligned lahat, parang walang problema. Schedule, actors, we shot the film even during a pandemic, walang major COVID cases. Our biggest concern, I know, with Tin was, of course, Joey is 75 years old now. He's already the Joey. Pero we were also, of course, very cautious about his health niya. So we promised the De Leon family that we will take care of Tito Joey. And yeah, blessing talaga that we finished everything parang smooth lahat. And we're so excited to show it to you on Christmas Day. Parang it's, of course, our gift to everyone. Yun, medyo mahabang kwento, pero sana I answered your question.
I will love that actually, Direk. Nakita ko kasi sa backdrop. So is this a co-prod between 1017 at saka Kinkan?
Oh, parang it's like a marriage.
Oh yes, right.
A literal marriage kasi, of course, yung brand ko naman 1017. And then of course, si Tin Can. So parang we're collaborating. It's the first time 1017 and Tin Can are coming together to make a film.
Lastly, Direk, is this your first time to direct your wife? So, anong discoveries? Kasi, di ba magkaiba yun eh, di ba? Iba yung mag-asawa, iba yung dinidirect yung asawa mo. So,
100%. That's actually my second time. I directed it for a film called Journey Home. Pero we weren't married yet. So, first time as a married couple. Yeah, I can say that. So, yung companies namin married, kami married. So, that's why very special ang my teacher sa amin. But, working with Tony, she's the ultimate professional. So, when we get to the set, she treats me director. Of course, may konting ganun. Pero of course, the set was very light naman. Ang light ng set, Tito Joey pa was there, Ronnie and Loisa. So, but professional si Tony, I just told him, be prepared. Ganun naman niya. Sometimes pa, we'll write together to the set. Diba? Kasi technically, same call time tayo. Diba? So, and yeah, I mean, it was actually a wonderful experience because of course, diba, people always say diba, pag husband and wife working together, there might be a chance baka mag-away. In this case, it was the opposite. It was a smooth working relationship. And when we would go home, we would actually talk about the scenes. And sometimes it's only when we rewrite, I felt that we can do this more. Diba? And we'll call Tito Joey. So parang it felt like a family. Parang si Tito Joey was like our father figure on the set. Diba? And of course, we were learning from him. I think the most exciting kwentos about shooting this film was yung lunch break, dinner break. Kasi maraming kwentos si Tito Joey, diba? The old industry, the past. So we got to learn a lot. I learned so much from Joey De Leon.
sorry ha, may isang hirit lang ako.
No problem.
Direk, kasi nga, pareho kayong celebrities, pareho kayong working parents. How do you divide your time, especially with your son?
We have to make time talaga. It's an effort to make time. And Tony and I know 100% our priority is family. And that's of course Sebi. He's 6 years old now. So medyo active na, aware na siya what's going on. Like, Mommy, why do people know your name? Why do people want to take pictures with you? So we're slowly telling him that your mom's an actress, she's a celebrity, she's a host, your dad's a director. So medyo very, very curious na yun si Sebi. So we make time. Tony and I make time. So if there are days na busy siya, I'll try to make time na ako. I still make time to drop him off in school or pick him up from school. Same with Tony. So teamwork talaga. And Tony and I look at each other and say, we cannot let our professional life distract us from what means the world to us, and that's our son, and of course our immediate family as well. So yeah, make time talaga. We have to make time.
Thank you, Direk.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tita, Aster, trivia. Alam niyo ba na lumabas din si Direk Paul sa Starting Over Again?
Alam ko yan.
Direk Paul, our next question will come from Alexis Romero of the Philippine Star.
Good afternoon, Director. I'll shift to something more political kasi I covered Malacanang. So you've been named recently as Creative Communication